Hello lovely people, and welcome back to this week's new video. Wow, it's been a minute since I filmed like an actual reading vlog that wasn't associated with a readathon. Maybe like a month ago. And if we're talking like thumbnails, it's been 4 months. But hello, if you're new here, my name is Noah. I am a bookish and lifestyle vlogger, born and raised and still based in New York City. If that sounds like any interest to you, I would love it if you would stick around and subscribe at the end if you so please. I have 5 books that I want to read this month. Nope, this week. Still fresh on this Monday morning. My to-do list is to read because I didn't at all yesterday, and I also need to film a sit-down video, so you'll recognize the outfit from my last video. My current read, which I never do this, I'm never in the middle of a book when starting a new reading vlog. It is the 5th season by Jemisin, and I'm about 45% of the way through or something, just about to start chapter 12. I didn't rush to finish this for the reading vlog because this book is a lot for me. I'm not really a fantasy reader. I read only like YA fantasy, like Lee Bardugo or Percy Jackson or like Harry Potter. So rushing into adult fantasy may have been a little bit of a mistake. I think I will look into like Regan. I love Regan. She is a avid fantasy reader, so I might look into like recommendations for fantasy beginners. And I think Starlah is also a big fantasy reader, so I'll look into that as well. But I really needed to take my time with this because it's hard, and I think if I rushed it, I just would not enjoy it at all. And regardless of whether or not I end up enjoying this book, I think it warrants a reread. It deserves that much because there's a lot for me to take in, and I think reading that for a second time, already having read the story and being kind of used to it, will be a good thing for me. So I honestly, this is really hard to even talk about for me. So I know that there is earth magic involved, and the world ends multiple times, and they're called seasons, I think, and the people who have magic are seen as like scum of the earth. People don't like them. They have derogatory terms for them. This story is following one of the people who has earth magic, and having a glossary is a struggle for me. I don't like it. It really just takes me out of the entire story, and it kind of ruins that experience for me. Looking at it through the glossary just doesn't allow for me to really understand what the terms are because I always have to look back. They're called origins, and so one story is following a girl who has just discovered what she is. Another story is following an origin with her new mentor, and another is following a woman whose son was murdered and she's now looking for her daughter. So it's a little bit difficult to get into. That is what I have to say. And then my next book is Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. I have been waiting to pick this up since I read Get a Life Chloe Brown, her first book that I read during Romanceathon. I just wanted to be able to catch this on a reading vlog. I can't wait to read this. Chloe's sister Dani, she is very career driven, and then she becomes friends with benefits with the security guard at her workplace, Zafir. Next book I have is Meet Cute Club by Jack Harbon, which is a really short read, like a little bit over 200 pages, and this is a male-male romance, which I have not read a lot of, so this is good for me. So this is about a bookstore owner, I think, and the bookstore owner has like a little book club that is run in his bookstore, but he kind of looks down on them because they read romance books, and he doesn't think romance books are like worth reading or something, but he falls for one of the guys in the book club, I think. The next one is a high priority for me because I've been talking about it since May and I haven't picked it up, and it's Kelly Yang's Parachutes. She is chunky, but she's a YA book, so I'm hoping it'll be easy to fly through. I've talked about this numerous times, and it just seems unfair to keep talking about it and not actually getting to it. But this is about 2 girls, Dani and Claire is a parachute, which means kids who are shipped off to the United States from Asia. Their wealthy parents have shipped them off so they could get Western educations, and she is staying at the house of Dani. Dani doesn't like that Claire is there. Dani is an ambitious student who really wants to get into top colleges, and she starts to get private lessons from her debate coach. Both of them sort of realize that their lives are going to collide, and not in the best way possible. And then my next book is The Night Swim by Goldin. This reminds me of the podcast Serial. I actually took a class based around that podcast. It was really, really fun. This woman has a true crime podcast, which I love true crime. My all-time favorite podcast, and probably like The only main one that I listen to on a regular basis is My Favorite Murder with Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark. It's really hard to find another true crime podcast because this is one of a kind. It's a true crime comedy podcast. But anyway, Rachel, who has a true crime podcast that helped set an innocent man free. For her new season of her podcast, Rachel arrives at a new small town regarding a rape trial with a local Goldin boy swimmer destined for Olympic greatness, and he's been accused of raping the granddaughter of the police chief. This case kind of sounds a little bit familiar. She wants her new season to be a success, obviously, because she's been doing so well. And then someone is actually following her and like leaving her notes regarding this case. The person wants her to find out what happened to her sister. I need water. This intro is freaking long. I just read 2 or 3 chapters, probably 2 chapters of this, and I was falling asleep, so I ate some frozen mangoes. I'm on page 264. I'm about to start chapter 15, and I think this is the mother who's like looking for her missing daughters. I honestly like don't know her name. I would say now I'm definitely over 50% of the way through, but I don't have like any feelings. But I'm obviously enjoying it enough to be continuing with it, but I don't think I am enjoying it enough to have like coherent thoughts and give it a rating at the end. I was able to read a little bit while I was working for the day. I had to give or take 100 pages left, which I think I can totally finish today because I usually try to read 100 pages at a time while reading this, and I still don't really have clear thoughts. I am gonna leave it at the chapter that I finished at and just finish this when I get into bed. Now that I'm done with work, we're low on ice cream, which means no dessert. So I think I'm gonna make cookies for today. The one that my mom really enjoys because she likes all things chocolate, except she prefers it to be dark. She's very particular about her sweets. The cookies that I've been enjoying making are chocolate shortbread cookies. I will leave the link down below. Very good, very easy. If you don't have like a KitchenAid mixer, which we don't, that shit is a workout on your arms. So there's my workout for the day. Super behind on editing my video for tomorrow, but I just finished up and I think I just need to do one last watch through. I didn't get to read the rest of the 5th season last night because I fucked around looking at apartments I could never afford in New York City. Got super tired and went straight to bed, but when I woke up I did finish the last 50 or so pages of this. I stand by what I originally said about this book, and I'm gonna give it no rating because I've never felt this way about a book before. I've never felt so indifferent about a book. I didn't hate it at all, but I also didn't really like or love it, so I'm not sure how I would rate a book where I feel like that. But I think I would give it a reread. I think it definitely deserves that. It came full circle, which helped for my understanding of this book, and I was confused about how this is a trilogy, but the ending definitely made that obvious, and I am interested in reading the other books. But of course I will definitely have to reread this book before getting into that, maybe a couple times before I fully just kind of grasp it. It wasn't until about 50% of the way through that I really started to get used to it. I got a package, but I am gonna get started reading on this book. Hopefully I can finish it for today, but the 2 books that arrived are actually for a book club that I'm doing with my friends. It's not like on YouTube or anything, it's just with my 4 best friends from my summer camp. We started it in August, and our August pick is Hidden Valley Road, Inside the Mind of an American Family by Robert Kolker. There's 4 of us in the book club, but 2 of them have already basically finished the book. My friend who picked it is really enjoying it. She said she's 75 pages away from finishing it. And then my book club pick is for November, which is actually perfect because it lined up perfectly with Books and Lala's Literally Dead book club pick, The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. I think she mentioned in her announcement video that November is Native American Heritage Month, which I didn't know. It just so happened that I ended up picking this book for that. It was one that I had been wanting to pick up anyway. It is obviously a couple hours later. I'm about 42% of the way in of Meet Cute Club, right on page 100, and this is super easy to get through. I quickly went through the 100 pages, and I could have gone the whole way through, but I did get distracted on my phone because they are both book readers, or at least like Rex works in the bookstore that Jordan frequents, and Jordan is the one who basically runs the Meet Cute Club. Rex is the one who kind of makes fun of Jordan for reading romance books and liking them. They get together pretty quickly, but it's still like fresh, so I don't really have thoughts on the relationship yet. I feel like this is really good for people who enjoy books and are avid readers because they have that bookish language thrown in there. Usually I have to explain what that is to non-avid book readers. Like if I say that on Goodreads or on my channel, people know what I'm talking about. But to my boyfriend, when I talk about books with him, I have to be like, oh, this is, you know, what all these terms I'm using mean. I got a package. They came earlier than expected. Yesterday, I did finish Meet Cute Club by Jack Harbon. Really cute. But I feel like I might have had high expectations for it because other people did, like Mina, Riley, and Meg. So I gave it 3.75. It was really cute. I don't know if it was like my mood, that I just wasn't in a mood for a good romance, but it was really cute and I like appreciated the fact that it is independently published. There wasn't anything wrong with it. It was just that I felt like the ending was a little bit too clean, but I think that's like kind of unfair that I say that because like all romances are. Specifically, it just seemed kind of too unrealistic for me personally. So that's why I gave it a 3.75. The other thing was that it was too short. I wish that it was a little bit longer so that I could actually fall in love with Rex and Jordan. I liked them, but I just wasn't like in love with them. Yeah. Anyway, the package that I got is new sneakers. I needed to replace my Air Force Ones. I threw them away after 4 years. I had them with me. Like got them like the second semester of my freshman year, and holy crap, this time I got them in kids sizes because it's like it's $10 cheaper. I am a size women's 6, but Air Force Ones run half size smaller, so I am a kids 4. I always knew that Air Force Ones would be a shoe that I would just wear forever, that I would just replace over and over again. I kept them really clean too. The only thing that betrayed me is the back. There was a hole. Look how pristine these are. I know I'm gonna be like such a weirdo about these at first, as people are with their new sneakers, and because they're white. Also, last night I did begin Parachutes by Kelly Yang. I read 4 chapters, so it alternates chapters between Dani and Claire. So I just read 2 chapters each. Claire is the one who is moving to America for her studies. She's not doing that well in school in Shanghai, and her parents like want her to get into a good American college so that'll look better for like, I don't know, bragging to other people, apparently is what her parents make it sound like. Also, there is content warning for sexual harassment and rape, so just a little warning for you there. Focus on me, please. Thank you. So I haven't read anything besides the 4 chapters of this. I do need to get a move on because it is like almost 7:30. I uploaded my video for today really late because it was after my mom and I watched the last 4 episodes of Suits of season 4. So please check it out. It's my favorite books of quarantine. Today I went like on a mini grocery shopping trip with my mom where we also got some sandwiches because my mom made bread today but forgot to add the yeast, so that didn't go well. And then another person purchased from my Depop, so I went to ship that out today also. So I also did that earlier this week, and so here is my Depop if you want to check it out. I have listed books and some clothes newly this week as well, so it's pretty awesome that people have been buying from my shop recently. I left the house twice today, which is like absolutely unheard of, especially because I don't leave the house even once a week. So it's been a day, and I got a package. I got my first ever Levi's. They are the Levi's 501s. They're a little bit on the trendier side, I guess, because they're the mid-thigh shorts, but they're my first ever pair. I was worried about how they would fit because I was expecting them to be tight, so I would loosen them up, but actually, because I'm usually between a size 24 and 25, but someone said a 25 was way too big for them, so I went with a 24, and it fits like really perfectly, which I'm surprised about, but I love them. Hello, good afternoon. Last night I actually didn't make a huge dent into Parachutes. I read up to chapter 13, so a little less than 100 pages, and it's really easy to read so far. It does split into chapters between Dani and Claire, so it's easy to tell the different perspectives as well. And it's proving to be interesting because Dani and Claire obviously have very different upbringings. Claire comes from a very privileged background, while Dani, as well as her mother, are struggling Dani has to work to save up for her own college education. So far, Claire has already moved into Dani's home and they're both attending school together, but they already have like different friend groups just because Claire fits in with the other parachute students and the other rich girls. I have an audiobook that's due in 10 hours, so I need to get to it today, and it's The Honey Don't List by Christina. Typically, I like to finish my audiobooks in one day. Okay, now it's due in 9 hours, so that's not nerve-wracking at all. It is only 7 hours long. This book was released in March of this year. I like totally forgot it was released this year, and it's about like a sort of HGTV type of couple. They have a really successful show, but turns out they're getting a divorce and their two assistants are keeping it on the down low. So it's sort of like that HGTV show, but behind the scenes. It is another romance for this week. Maybe I'll enjoy it more than Meet Cute Club, we'll see, but I've seen like really bad reviews for it, so love that. I did not film at all really yesterday. No sit down clips or anything. I just could not be bothered. I don't know, I'm in a weird mood. You're on a tripod of books at the moment. I didn't do any reading until the end of the night when I tucked myself in, which during quarantine I have found is probably the easiest way to end my day or find reading time. Reading would usually be a reward for me had I not been in quarantine. Get out of work, I'm finally on the train home and I can read my book, or I'm reading my book on the way to work or something. But now I just have all this time to read. I can even read during work, so it just doesn't really seem like a reward anymore. Anyway, I finished Parachutes, the last bit of it. Not sure how many pages that is. Almost 200 pages of it. I think I'm giving this 5 stars. Yesterday, if I was going to talk to you about where I was up to, I would have said that I was enjoying this book a lot more than I thought I would. I read Kelly Yang's middle grade book, Front Desk, and I didn't really enjoy it because, you know, it's middle grade and I'm an adult. This, I knew going into it. I had seen Kelly Yang's tweets regarding what happened to her at Harvard, which is what interested me in picking up this book or any of her books. I had never heard of her before. And she pulls on a lot of her own experiences and puts it into this book. It deals with sexual assault and coming of age, and I think it was really well done. Knowing about what happened to Kelly Yang, which she includes in her author's note, gives it a more personal touch. It was interesting being told in dual perspective. Claire's perspective, she's obviously the rich girl who comes from Shanghai, so it gave me a lot of Crazy Rich Asians vibes. And Dani, she's such a strong character. I really like her. It all just comes together. What the heck, I didn't expect to like it so much and end up giving it 5 stars. I think for today I'm gonna take it slow. I feel like I've been saying I'm taking it slow this reading vlog, but I've actually read like 4 or finished 4 books rather for this vlog. There was something I discovered about myself. I've been getting stress pimples, which happen in my chin area and a little bit in my forehead. I was thinking about why that is, because I'm not someone who ever really notices that I'm stressed until it appears on my body. So I was thinking about what could possibly be making me stressed, and it caused me to analyze my life and what was going on in my day-to-day. And I have been saying, oh, I'm fine in quarantine, which I genuinely think I have been, but I think that it has finally sort of caught up to me that I've now been in quarantine almost 5 months, and I'm sort of in this haze, like indifferent state of mind. I want to try morning pages, which is like stream of consciousness journaling. First thing when you wake up will kind of release that in me. When I journal, I have a plan. I like to write about what I did during the day and things like that as a memory keeping tool. I'm hoping that maybe writing whatever comes to my mind will be sort of like a therapy for me. So if you're going through the same thing or have gone through something like this before, if you have any advice or just how you're dealing with it, what you're doing in quarantine to cope with this feeling, that would be much appreciated. I'm someone who is okay with the same old and routine for a little bit, but I think that span of like 5 months in quarantine has just been a little bit too much for me, and it's catching up to me right now. So I'm gonna take it slow for the last day. It's Sunday. I am going to be dog sitting from today for 2 weeks, so you'll see the arrival of him if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while. You'll recognize him, Apollo, the dappled long-haired dachshund. I think the only book I'll be reading today is an ebook that's due at the library today. It's called He Who Dreams by, I think, Melanie, Florence. It's by an indigenous author. I can't tell you what it's about off the top of my head, but it's only about 130 pages, so hopefully I can finish that today. Alright, so we started out this week finishing the last maybe half of the 5th season, and I didn't give it a rating. Still really want to read this, or continue with the series at least. My first step into adult fantasy. And then on that Wednesday I began Meet Cute Club by Jack Harbon, and I gave this one 3.75 stars. I still really recommend it though. And then I started Parachutes, and I ended up giving this 5 stars. Like, what the heck? In between having read that, I listened to the Honey Don't List audiobook, and I gave that 2 stars. Wait, I read a 5th book. I read He Who Dreams on Sunday, and I gave that 3 stars. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. Oh my god, I didn't even tell you anything about what this book is about. So He Who Dreams is about a boy in, I think, high school, and he is biracial. He is Irish American and also Native American, so he's Cree. His dad is a redhead, so he looks exactly like his Irish father, so basically completely white, while his younger sister looks just like his mother, so completely Native American. And he's on the soccer team at school, just, you know, floating by. And then he's at the community center, or the cultural center, where his sister is taking art classes, and he's killing time, and he hears the beats of drums, and he walks into a Native American dance class, and he's really into it. So he decides to take that up, and he kind of keeps it a secret one because he's a boy, and like dancing seems girly, but also he gets made fun of by the native kids because he looks white, and they're like, stop stealing our culture and stuff like that. I think it dealt with really important issues, but it just like wasn't anything special. So I gave that 3 stars, middle of the road, and 133 pages, which gave me a total of 1,399 pages for this entire reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you read this week, what you're enjoying, how you're coping with quarantine still, if you're kind of getting the hang of it now, or unlike me. And I will see you guys next time. Give it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.